Hey y'all! I'm not working on a sewing project today, but I'm actually here to offer a new sewing challenge. Myself and Melissa over at Sew Biased and Ayana at the Vintage Guidebook also work on early and mid 20th century project, wanted to host a challenge inspired by the creativity that came from the sacrifice of wartime rationing. We want you to challenge yourself to make anything that your heart desires while following the rationing restrictions set in place by the government during World War II. Now, this might take a little more preliminary research before you begin. It really is an interesting topic, and in the amount that I've researched so far, I've found it very interesting, and I myself will have to research more as I join in on this challenge. Rationing is the controlled distribution of scarce resources, goods, and services. Booklets were given with stamps that had generic images and serial numbers. Then, at a later date, they would post in the local newspaper the guidelines for using those. While North America did implement rationing, I found more information on textile and fashion and clothing restrictions placed on manufacturers rather than consumers themselves. Of course, if you were a home sewist, it wouldn't be that easy to get your hands on silk, nylon, shoes, leather, any metal, so no metal zippers or anything like that. Simultaneously, there was a huge push for make, do, and mend. There were also nationwide contests held for the best garments made using salvage textiles, like remnants, mill ends, or old clothing. This was done to create a sense of community, that we're all in this together. Here we all are using our clothes that we were going to get rid of, or, you know, that last half yard of fabric, do we have another yard left over from another project that we could combine together and make it work? It was very political. It became kind of a push that sewing is patriotic and make, do, and mend, you are contributing to this war, even though you are not going and fighting it in person. And it was a way to kind of make you feel connected and do what you can to limit your intake of resources that were needed at the time. So rather than sit here and list out all the guidelines, I created this little image. So what do you think? Will you join us on this challenge to make, do, and mend, or create something new but used using rationing restrictions? Now, I don't know everything about rationing, and like I said earlier, while I am going to be also joining in on this, I have a lot more to learn. And if you have anything interesting that you want to share that you've learned about rationing, leave me a comment below. Leave me a comment if you plan on joining. And we are leaving this challenge open until May 8th. During that time, if you create something before the deadline or at the deadline, we will be sharing your makes on Instagram, and we will also be creating a playlist here on YouTube so that you can see what everyone else is doing, and maybe you'll find some inspo there. If you're joining us, I cannot wait to see how you interpret this challenge.